Alright, what's going on, guys? It's Jeff. Back here on some more Vanguard. Basically, this ends tomorrow, right? I don't really have much else that I can really accomplish on this shit. I have played the ever-living fuck out of it. No idea how many total hours I actually have, but yeah, it's a lot of hours. So, over this time that I was playing the game, it basically is like measuring this game up and down on like whether, you know, we're gonna enjoy the game for the year. How does it compare to Cold War? How does it compare to Modern Warfare? We're likely gonna be drawing a lot of comparisons back to Modern Warfare because of the amount of new fans that we got since that year, and Warzone especially. We've been talking a whole bunch about the camos and stuff like that, but it seems like with each and every single passing day, the people that do all this leaking and all that other shit are just finding something new every day. First, we didn't know anything about the camos or how many camos there even were. We didn't know exactly if any of them were going to look good at all. We don't even know if the assets are there or whatever. Turns out, we just didn't have much detail. We didn't know if we were going to end up having like a system that was similar to how they had it back on World War II. We haven't had a Sledgehammer game in, what, 3-4 years at this point, so just didn't necessarily know exactly how their, you know, camo system would work. We didn't know if it was going to be crazy over the top and tedious or something like that, if it was going to be more like Cold Wars, where it's a little bit on the easier side, or is it going to be more like Damascus, where the challenges are completely disgusting, and that in the process ends up destroying the game's flow and everything just for the sake of challenges. Everybody, as soon as the game starts, will start going for the challenges, and then, say, for example, mounting, or get a 5-kill streak, or some shit like that is actually a challenge. It's just that people will do basically anything in their power to get them done. I mean, this shit could technically be like a spoiler for myself, but I mean, ultimately, it's not like I'm gonna be like super surprised and excited for the types of challenges they're gonna give me. A grind is a grind, regardless. It's basically just how long is this grind, and it's seeming like it's gonna end up being around the length of how the Damascus one is. It seems like it's gonna be a very similar system where every gun has many camos, and then there's categories of the camos. It should be a similar system to how it was on Modern Warfare, which, you know, makes sense, obviously, since we're on, you know, this whole engine and everything. Just makes sense for it to be the same thing. I mean, technically speaking, they could still be placeholders, maybe. All I know is it's gonna be a pretty rough year. Yeah, yesterday I got into my car, and then it didn't start. I have no idea how long it's been like that. I got in my car and I went to go start it, and it's not a dead battery because it doesn't just like click or just like not do anything. It just, I do this, it sounds like the engine's trying to turn over and then it just doesn't turn over. Oh, and also the front wheel is flat. I don't know how the fuck that happened. I know that like leaving a vehicle in a place for like a long time, the tires can, you know, have problems and all this other shit. You lose air and blah, blah, blah. I know that. I've owned a car. I've owned this car since I think like 2013 or some shit. So yeah, my car is fucked. I bought that car with my first few $1,000s that I made working at the factory. I mean, it served its purpose. It's done a very good job. I feel annoyed even thinking about getting rid of it. I might just need a new car. I'm starting to think about like safety features and shit. Like as you get older, I'm like, yeah, this whole like coupe thing, 2 doors, yeah, fuck all that. I'm gonna need like 4 doors. You know what I mean? I don't need like a full-blown, full-size sedan or whatever the fuck, but I'm also not like a sports car or supercar type of dude where like I want to go racing on the street or give a fuck about having like a Lambo and all that shit. Like I'm just not really into it. I don't really give a fuck about all like this like hype beast, over-the-top shit. It's just not cool to me. I mean, it's cool. It's like great tech and shit like that, but I don't care. I don't like vehicles that much. I don't like cars like that. Cars stress me out more than, you know, inspire or whatever. I like playing some racing games and shit like that, but ever since I got in like a couple accidents when I was a little kid, I was, you know, obviously in the back, I'm a little kid. Ever since those days, I was not fucking with it. I learned how to drive. I was fine with it. I learned a little late after I'd graduated. Basically purposefully failed the initial test that I got in my junior year of high school that would give you like a learner's permit or some shit like that. I purposefully failed it because I did not want to drive. There were kids in that class that were literally bawling their eyes out because they failed. I barely failed on purpose. I was afraid that if I had succeeded in it, my grandparents would end up knowing that I did, and then they would be excited for me to go and get in a vehicle, and then I would have to sit there and argue about why I don't want to learn. But at the end of it all, I basically, you know, ended up graduating, ended up getting my license and all that shit. So I might need to get a new car, which is okay. I mean, I haven't bought a new car or anything even nice for my car since I got it. I've had it for like, what, 8 years now? It's a 2009 Scion TC, by the way. Bought it for around like $5,000 or some shit back when I got it initially. It has over like 100,000 miles. I'm not even the one that put the majority of the miles on that vehicle. Whoever was driving that shit before me, they had like a job that was real far away and shit. I drove it. I added some miles to it, but, you know, a part of me actually actually kind of hopes that the spawns stay a little similar in Blitz, where I'd be able to actually have a situation, especially even in hardcore Blitz, where players will just spawn right in front of me and I can get free headshots. I never bought like a new car or anything like that, so I don't know. I haven't looked at cars in years, so all of the cars are just so uninteresting and I don't know shit about them. Like, I just don't have anything that I don't know. I mean, I want a nice car so it doesn't fucking break, but I don't want like a supercar, you know what I mean? Something that's like hundreds of thousands of dollars and shit like that. Like, just a nice sedan. You know, with a lot of safety features, you know what I mean? Maybe even electric. I don't fucking know. I haven't looked at cars in a long time, so I have no idea. I'll have to get it towed somewhere and then fix at a garage and then figure out what to do, or I don't know, whatever. I'll let you guys know. Honestly, I'll probably just end up fixing it. I'm getting linked to a whole bunch of shit. So there's a lot of the leakers out there that, you know, got all this info and shit like that. And I hate saying people by name because I also don't want people to, like, get in trouble, and then certain information, I don't know if it's like copywritten, and clearly a lot of it is copywritten, and images and all that shit. The images are usually the big no-no. Most people know not to do it, but certain information is also, you know, touchy and shit. So, yo, did they remove Hotel Royal? Like, I'm almost convinced they removed Hotel Royal out of Blitz. Oh, look at that. As soon as I got 6v6. It seems like whenever this information gets out there at all on Twitter or Reddit or wherever it is, there's always like 20 fucking TikToks that end up getting made. They just jack this shit out of it and post it up everywhere, and then, dude, TikTok is TikTok is such a fucking cesspool, it's insane. There's just so much bullshit out there, but I have people that constantly link me to this shit. Hey bro, watch this TikTok. Hey, watch this TikTok of this guy that you've never fucking heard of before that's saying all this shit. Like, I could just go to whatever the source is, not whatever the fuck. Like, anyone can do whatever the fuck I'm doing, even talking right here. Like, I don't leak new info. It's just shit that ends up out there, and I'm like, oh, I could probably talk about it. These dudes will see some shit on Twitter and then immediately just claim some crazy shit. From what it looks like, and this is basically going to be Damascus 2.0, just from the sheer amount of them overall. I'm not gonna go into detail about like the challenges and all that shit. I've read a lot of it. I know what they are, I do. Obviously, I mean, they could just change, but it's very, very similar to Modern Warfare 2019's grind. So, Damascus, as most people know, was definitely harder to get than Dark Matter Ultra over on Cold War, for example. Like, obviously, unlocking a Mastery camo in general is super annoying and challenging on all the games. It's more so tedious than challenging, but yeah. Modern Warfare 2019 had the most tedious system for sure. But this game, even if it is basically a copy and paste of it, this game's pace is much better, much faster, and a lot more streamlined. I enjoy the matchmaking on here much better. Obviously, skill-based matchmaking is still in this game. Obviously, my lobbies get sweaty, but because of the combat pacing splitting a lot of players up and shit, it actually makes it so the skill-based matchmaking doesn't seem as strict as you would think. Because the game has to go through multiple filters, not only going through the shit of like calculating your accuracy, KD, score per minute, whatever it is that the typical system would do, now it has to add the extra filter in of your preference of game size. Blitz, assault, tactical. I could get matched with somebody, usually, that's like a 2.0, 2.5, it's a pretty high score per minute, but if they're queuing tactical and I'm queuing blitz, it's likely that I just won't run into them. So it, in a sense, kind of overrides the skill-based matchmaking to a degree. I think some people are gonna find little tricks with this new system here. I'm telling you, people will be able to find little tricks. For example, a lot of people knew that, like, oh, turning your DLC map packs off and shit like that over on the older games would make it so you get into easier lobbies, because it's likely that really bad players probably haven't bought any of the DLC. So if you want to take it a step further, you'll queue 6v6 team deathmatch, because that's usually the first thing that people select. So people could end up finding little tricks where tactical TDM people get stomped out a lot more often than you would think, because the skill-based matchmaking won't be able to match as many people as it would want to. So I have no idea what hardcore will look like on this game. I still don't know if you could do like hardcore blitz and all that other shit. Dude, that frangible shit has gotta go. That shit actually just stopped me in my tracks completely. I was sprinting and my character just literally stops moving. I wonder if that'll make it easier for headshots. I genuinely wish I could hear like a footstep. It doesn't need to be this shit where I can tell what their foot size is and how often they clip their toenails type of shit. I just need like a step. I'd rather this than a lot of noise. I didn't hear him at all. Sprinted across the fucking room straight at me, no dead silence, even jumped and I didn't hear his feet even hit the ground. I mean, geez, yeah, there's apparently like hundreds of camos for every gun in the game, so, yeah.